Hello, my name is Mike Iro. I'm with ITA Dynamics. For the last 27 years, I've been helping organizations design and develop business applications for the ERP and MRP markets. About 10 years ago, I was asked to help a waste and recycling organization by a friend of mine put together an IT plan for growth. They had sizable growth. They were growing almost doubling every year. And I did a search. We decided to go out and look for different applications to help them grow their business from an IT perspective. It was very surprising what we found through this process. We found a lot of organizations that had wonderful dispatch or AR applications, but no one who really focused on the entire organization from a financial and operational perspective. And I was very surprised. And after many months of research, we finally found an organization in Germany that started to head to that level but didn't quite finish it. So we decided to help them along in the process and really start to focus our attention on this particular community. And it's been the best choice we've ever done. ITA Dynamics is a Microsoft partner here in North America. We work in Canada, US, and Mexico. And for the last 8 years, have been primarily focused just in the waste and recycling market. Our partner is Tegos. Tegos are the original creators of ENWIS, and ENWIS is our Enterprise Waste Information System. It is the application that's designed around Microsoft. We currently have about 15 partners around the world who help us with our global clients, and we work in this environment. It was very interesting when we went out and we looked, and Tegos had the only application that had been around for over 22 years that really helped the waste and recycling community, and really not just about managing material going from point A to point B and throwing it into a hole, but providing a visibility into the entire stream. When I first started with working in the community, one of the very first things I found is I was asked to put together this IT plan. I was very excited, and I sat down with management. We met with the CEO, the CFO, the head of operations, the head of sales, and one of the things we found that was interesting is that everybody had different sets of information, and none of it jived. Of course, sales says they were right, operations said they were right, accounting says they were right, and the CEO just wanted somebody to be right. So one of the very first things we started to see is that we had all this information all over the place and nothing ever connected, nothing ever, and it was always a blame game. It was, I have the right, no, I have the right information. So one of the very first things, takeaways from those meetings was that we have to be consistent in our information. So how do we create an environment where it's one version of the truth, right? Either from a data perspective, at both what we call structured data, which is numbers, and unstructured data, which is all the other stuff, with all the Excel, the document imaging, and the Word, and all the other stuff. And we'll get there. So the question we saw is that I had organizations with 10, 15, 20 different systems that never connected and never jived. So how do I bring all that together? And the other thing we saw is that people were using Excel databases became unmanageable. So we had to create an environment where we could bring it all together. And that's really where ENWIS came about. It's about bringing all the systems together, that all the information flows. Don't get me wrong. There are wonderful systems. There are great operational systems. There's lots of systems, a lot of information out there, but we had to figure out a way to bring it all together under one roof. And that is where ENWIS really came about. The reason why, and we all have lots of different reasons why, and I think we all understand why we want to bring all that information together, but it's about trying to link everyone within the organization, and I hate to say just in the organization because that limits ourselves. We're not just talking about the people within our company. I'm not just talking operations or sales or even management perspective, but there's so many other people within our ecosystem that we have to communicate with. It's our customers, from diversion reports to understanding their waste streams, providing feedback, great customer service about when pickups are happening, how full the containers are when they are being picked up, why are we picking up on these schedules. We got to be able to answer those questions. Or when we're working with our vendors or our partners, right? Where are they providing services for us? How often are they correct? How often are they missing pickups? How often do they damage things? Are they fixing things on a timely basis? Or even partners, are they paying us the premiums for those rebates? Are we providing clean material to them if that's our responsibility? Or if our responsibility is the recycling side, are our partners providing us clean material? And what type of feedback can we give them to help them help us? All of that information is what we have to share. And so we have to provide a medium for all that to happen. Again, it doesn't happen unless it's all under one roof. I mean, people are using ENWIS, and it is self-explanatory. I mean, yes, do we reduce risk? It's open architecture. It is a full ERP system. It is a Microsoft package. It's all under one roof. Those are all wonderful ideas, but it's really about accessing the information. That's why people use ENWIS. I mean, I could use 10 different systems too, and I could copy and paste and be a high-paid secretary to type in Excel spreadsheets, but that's not what they pay me for. That's not why I do. And my job is to help manage, figure out where the problems are, figure out the exceptions. Because if I can manage the exceptions, the problem areas, then I can do better. I can make more money. I can reduce costs. I can provide better customer service. This is a Microsoft package, and there was a reason why we picked Microsoft. Microsoft had a wonderful structure that we could leverage that did all the integration with all of the love. It provided the source. It provided a basis. So I didn't have to go out and recreate the wheel. It provided us our gap compliancy issues. It made sure that we're Sarbanes-Oxley compliant. It let us have all the auditability that we need. And I didn't have to worry about doing any of that work. All I had to focus on is what are the best practices depending on which micro vertical I might be in. So if I'm a MRF, there are certain practices versus if I'm a recycler, versus if I'm a broker, versus if I'm doing organics. Each one of them has their own unique perspectives. But Microsoft gave us a platform to sort of not have to deal with all those other areas. So I know I can integrate and use any device, be it a Windows tablet. So if I'm using this Windows beautiful little, maybe I'm using my iPhone or I'm using a computer, I don't want to have to worry about what I need to access this information. I just want to access it. So if I'm leveraging Excel to do reporting, I mean, we all use Excel, or am I using SharePoint to collect images and data and libraries of information that I may share, or am I leveraging Outlook to communicate, or contacts on my phone? When I look at contacts on my phone, I want it to integrate with everything that's in my database, so I can look at my phone and my app on my phone, be it my iPhone or Windows Phone or Droid, whatever you're using, and I can get that information and share that with my community. I need to have that infrastructure so that I can do all that. And that's what Microsoft provides us. So we don't have to build that environment. Now, Microsoft Dynamics and ENWIS it's been around for 22 years. We have partners around the world, multi-languages, multiple currencies, thousands of installations, and that's all wonderful. But more than that, there are 9 times out of 10, our organizations are much more than the sum of all the parts. We are not just a waste or recycling organization. We have other parts of our business that we have to manage. A great example is that if you're doing a separation process of material, you might have a manufacturing process in organics where you create compost, bag it, and sell it. So you not only have a manufacturing process, but now you have a distribution process on top of the recycling. If I'm dealing with say I'm a Merck and I have single stream, I may have end products, I may create new widgets out of what we've separated. So I may have real estate that I have to manage. I may have landfills I have to manage. I may have rentals that I have to manage. All of these things that are going on in our organization. So I have to be able to handle all of those operations as well as just our waste and recycling side. Now, we have many clients within our organization, and many of them you'll probably recognize. We are a global organization. We do have partners around the world. We have customers around the world. We deal with reporting issues around the world. So these things are natural, and that was another reason why we picked Microsoft, because we needed global access. We needed a global partner. I know for those here in the U.S., you don't think outside the box. But there are, if you're close to the border, you may be on the Mexico border or the Canadian border, you may find clients across that border that you may want to service. You need the ability to do that. It's not pertinent to everyone, but for those that are, it is a big deal. Now, Microsoft Dynamics and ENWIS has been around for almost 22 years. We've said that. And there's a lot of things that have been going on, and it's constantly growing. Our new product here in 2017, we're releasing here in May, is device independent. What does that mean? You can access information on anything you want, from a computer to a tablet to a phone. I don't care who the manufacturer is, you have access. That's the key. Access the data, access the information so that you can do something with it. Of course, OCR is becoming very popular so that you can scan documents coming in. One of the big things that we always had with our brokers where we were managing thousands of invoices. How do I get that information so I don't have to type it so I can increase my company size or my revenue without having to increase the number of employees I employ? A great scenario. Or now with the integration with Enevo or some of the sensor stuff where you're actually being able to read and analyze and have access right on your phone to what's going in the field in a container, how full it is. Did somebody miss a pickup? I want to be notified about that because I want to find out why the vendor missed it. If I'm, or maybe I'm a hauler and I'm dealing, on average, every time we pick up that container, it's only half full. What a great customer service. They go back to that customer and say, hey, Mr. Customer, I can save you some money. This is what we're finding out. Maybe you can grab more waste streams for that client. Maintenance, onboard computing, FleetMind's a great example where we have access to that information that's going on that particular rig, and all that information comes right back to us. Now, I'm not dealing with the onboard computer and all the stuff that's going on there. There are people who can do great stuff, but I need all that data. I need to collect it in one spot so that I can report on it and do something with it. Now, over 2018 and 19 and 20, and we know there are lots of new things coming out from Microsoft with BI reporting, and BI reports already available in 2017, but we're even more talk about with Power BI 365, as well as new handheld mapping capabilities, and lots of new things that are going to be coming out over the course of the years, as well as the new things that our customers bring to us as new ideas to help them become better organizations or things that can help the overall community. Now, for the techies out there, I'll bring this up because it's always important. We are a Microsoft package. We are built on Microsoft SQL. It is it's based on a set of objects that Microsoft released, and we build objects on top of that. It is a 3-tiered architecture. What does that mean? That means you can grow very large, very big, and you can break up those loads across things. So dealing with 1 million or 2 million transactions is not unheard of, or even more. ENWIS, Enterprise Waste Information System. The product line is really ENWIS 2017. The components that are below that are pieces that make up ENWIS and just really grow functionality into different directions, be it from dispatch or a cash register or telephony integration. All of those pieces are just pieces that sort of are plugins that expand the ENWIS 2017 product line. When I started in the sector, it was very interesting because you really don't think of waste and recycling being lots of things. You sort of think it's trash or you recycle it, but there's so much more. there's so many micro verticals within the waste and recycling community, from metals and papers and composting and brokerage, energy, electronics, and so on. There's so many different genres or micro verticals that have to manage, and each one have their own unique quirks or unique quirks about them that have to be managed. It's a little different. And those best business practices is what we've been able to bring together within the ENWIS environment. Now, it is an open architecture. We do integrate with a lot of different third parties, and some that can't be listed. There's many clients that have their own unique things about them that we also integrate with. But being able to integrate is one of the great things about it, is that I can bring all that data, I can share the data out, and I can bring it all right back in so I can report on it. In many cases, it's always been easier for me to tell clients what I don't do than what I do. I don't do payroll. Great example. I integrate with third parties, the Paychecks, ADP, so on. I don't do onboard computers. The Fleetminds and the Routwares of the world, they do great jobs of that stuff. Why would I ever want to step on their feet? I'd rather leverage those relationships and pull all that data in. You may have optimization software. That's great. Let's bring it together. Let's utilize that. Again, I got some data. They have some data. We bring it together. We optimize it and bring it down into the system. Same thing would hold true with handheld scanners. If I'm doing barcoding, if I'm doing distribution components. On top of all that, Microsoft has almost 2,000 different plugins that you can add on top of all of this to expand and create more functionality for more missions or more issues or more business issues that you might have. The ROIs of ENWIS, of companies who are using it, there's so many different ones. I think that really the biggest takeaway you get is that by creating an environment where all the data is centralized, you can bill faster? Yes. Can I create more data and report on more pieces of information? The answer is. So the key is it's all under one roof. A wonderful example of how one client was able to use is that we looked at a brokerage organization where they're trying to grow their business, but by growing their business, they have to have an auditor check vendor invoices. There's about 50 different customers that they can manage per customer service rep. And now, because you can put components or workflows within the system to basically say, don't pay an invoice if it does not match what's on the contract, that means I can now audit not 50, but 500 clients and make sure that each one of those clients are being managed correctly and billed correctly. I can make sure that all my haulers are picking up the material they're promised to be picked up because they're connected to sensors. I know exactly when they're picked up. I know exactly when they didn't pick up. Putting all that together under one roof is where you get your ROI. Better customer service, better revenue streams, increase your revenue streams, and lower your costs. Those are all standard business things that we try to accomplish within the ENWIS environment. The question is why are you looking at a new system? Most of my clients that are looking at moving to a new environment is because they can't manage all the different Excel spreadsheets. They can't manage the multitude of systems. It's just become to a point, it's either unmanageable or they're so far behind the times because they haven't been able to keep up with the 10 different systems and all the upgrades and things like that, that it's just too costly to move forward and basically leverage newer technologies. So this is where ENWIS comes about. So when you look at all of this, ask yourself why. What do I need? And that's where you're going to start saying, okay, if I need these things, that's why probably I need ENWIS. Thank you.